Hello everybody, good afternoon. I hope all of you well and happy. So before we start the actual Lamrim class, please cultivate pure motivation, because our activities can be positive or negative. It's only depend on our motivation. At the beginning of our Dharma class, if we have impure motivation, then the whole time can be kind of negative activities. At the beginning of Lamrim class, if we have pure motivation for achieving liberation, achieving Buddhahood, to benefit all sentient beings, then the whole Lamrim session can be positive activities. We can accumulate great amounts of merit. Therefore, please cultivate very pure motivation for study Lamrim. Thank you. So this day, we study about meditation. At the beginning of this chapter, first, Lama Tsongkhapa explained we must have very strong motivation to achieve the meditative concentration. In order to have strong motivation for achieving the meditative stabilization, we need to understand the benefit of meditation. Then second, we learn how much it is important to achieve both the serenity and the spiritual insight. If we only achieve the serenity, we can temporarily reduce, control the negative thought, but we cannot eliminate the seeds of all the emotions. Therefore, second, we need to achieve insight, the spiritual insight. After we achieve the spiritual insight, then we need to learn how to unanimously practice together or unanimously. After that, we learn how we should sit when we do the meditation. Also, we learned what kind of environment we must have. Then we spend, I think, 3 classes about the object of meditation. So the object of how it is very important. We must recognize, identify those objects of meditation. Then when we study about object meditation, so we study mainly the 4 kinds of object of meditation. The first, the universal object of meditation, it has 4 kinds of. Then second, we studied the object of meditation, purifying our behavior. So when we studied about the object of meditation for purifying our behavior, then we study about 5 kinds of object. The 5 object linked with the 5 kinds of negative thoughts, 5 kinds of thoughts. Later, the third, when we study about the meditation object of expertise, also we learned within the expertise of meditation object of expertise has 5 kinds. Also, the 5 are very important to overcome the ignorance. Ignorance about self, being, ignorance about cause, condition, and ignorance. These are 5. Last, when we studied meditation object 4, purifying the afflictions, afflictive emotions, then it has 2 kinds of object. The first one, the comparative, the highest and lower state, the grossness and the calmness. The second one, mainly the 4 noble truths and the 16 attributes of the 4 noble truths. Among the 4 objects of meditations are, connected each other. Then also we learned, so which object we must use when we do meditation. Then Lama Tsongkhapa explained, they are not certain to say this must be object of meditation for you, because then somebody has a very strong affected emotions. Somebody has a balance. Somebody has a very manner kinds of affected emotions. It depends on the person. After that, then we studied based on the sutra. Buddha, somebody asked question to Buddha, then Buddha explained why we need to meditate on all kinds of object of meditation. So today we study more particularly about the object of meditation. So please everybody open page number 42. Identifying object of meditation for this context, this particular context. Now, from among the many objects of meditation, I have explained on which object of meditation should you base yourself so as to achieve serenity. So we knew there are many kinds of object of meditations. Mainly, actually, we say many, actually there's only 12 kinds of. So which object, we should use, we should meditate on for achieving serenity. Now the answer here, as stated in the Sutra passage cited above, there's no single or definite object. Lama Tsongkhapa said there's no such as one single object can be used for achieving serenity. There's not definite kind of object. We can say we must use this object. There's not definite. There's not certain. Because individual require the particular object of meditation, right? This means is up to the practitioner. Up to the practitioner. Then again, if your mind is dominated by attachment, then ugliness is the best object to do meditation. So if your emotion, if your afflictive emotion has a balance, if all thoughts are very similar, then whichever you like, you can use the object. Please remember that. Therefore, it's individual require the particular object of meditation, especially if you are dominant to achieve, if you are determined to achieve serenity at the least, and if your behavior is dominant by attachment, other affliction, then you need to use certain types of object of meditations. Let's say today, everybody want to do meditation mainly for achieving serenity. Then usually we must use just only one object for achieving serenity. But sometimes our mind is have a strong attachment. Then we need to reduce attachment. Then we meditate on ugliness until the attachment come down. When the attachment come down, then we change, our meditation on our regular object. Therefore, here, achievement or achieve serenity at the least, most importantly, then if your behavior is dominant by attachment or another affliction, then you need to use certain types of object of meditation. For if you do not, then you may attain the concentration, then approximate serenity. Right? That means, so usually you use, let's say, 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates you use object of meditation for achieving serenity. Then somehow your mind is dominated by attachment, then you never try to reduce attachment. You always meditate on 5 aggregates. If you do this continuously, you cannot achieve the actual serenity, but you can achieve approximately, very similar concept, concentration is no real serenity. Therefore, we need to reduce attachment, totally control attachment. Then we use our usual object for meditation to achieve serenity. Otherwise, you cannot. So we cannot approximate serenity. But if you will not attain actual serenity, right, you can achieve very similar kinds of concentration, but not serenity. It is said that even if you trained with an object of meditation for purifying behavior, you will not achieve serenity unless you do so for a very long time. So how could you ever achieve it by rejecting object of meditation for purifying behaviors? Therefore, even though we use one of the objects to reduce the particular afflictive emotions, but it takes long time to achieve serenity. Therefore, without controlling, without reducing the particular afflictive emotion, and how we can achieve serenity. So the simple way I'm saying here, everybody must have to achieve serenity. In order to achieve serenity, we use only one object for achieving serenity, just one object. We should not change the object very often, just one object. Then sometimes you have a strong attachment. Sometimes you have a strong anger. In order to reduce the particular afflictive emotion, we need to use particular object of meditation. When you control the particular negative thoughts, then we do usual meditation to use the same object. In particular, if you have predominance of the discursiveness, then definitely you have to meditate on the breath, right? It's same again. Usually you use the 5 aggregates for meditation object to achieve serenity. Then when you wake up early morning, you have so many different kinds of thoughts arising in your mind. First, urgently, immediately, you need to control all the thoughts. You need to reduce, you need to minimize all the thoughts. How we can reduce, how we can minimize? We can minimize through applying our breath. So you focus on you just absorb your breath without without having any distraction. Or you count your breath for maybe 35, 50 times. Then your mind become very calm down. Then again, you use the object of meditation, which is you use usually. You are a person balanced behavior or person with slight affliction, then explain before make you meditate best, whichever of the object of meditation explained above most, appeal to you. If your afflictions are balanced, attachment, anger is all the thought is very balanced. None of them is too strong. Or your emotion is a very kind of slightest, very weak. Then you can use any object which is mentioned before. Then you do meditation. Now let's go to alternatively Kamalashila. So it's a totally new kind of topic. Alternatively, Kamalashila middle and the last stage of meditation follow. The sutra on the concentration. The king of the concentration sutra is starting that you achieve concentration by focusing on the body of the Tathagata, right? Therefore, Kamalashila, he has a very unique kind of meditation, which is focused on the Tathagata bodies. Right? In the previous, the 12 doesn't mention any kind of Buddha body, right? 5 aggregates or the 5 kinds of object. Now Kamalashila teach the disciple how to do meditation based on the Buddha, Tathagata body, Buddha's body. So we go a little bit, this topic. Tathagata, also the master Bodhi Bandra explains multitude of the object. So here's the two master you remember. One is the Kamala Shila, second is the Bodhi Bhadra. Here serenity is twofold. Means, so you can achieve serenity through two different ways, two different means, twofold. That attain by looking inward, and that based on an object of meditation view outwardly. That means there's a two kinds of serenity you can achieve. One, you just focus on your inward object. Second is the outward object. Right? Object. What does mean inward object? Of those looking inward has another twofold. Twofold. Focus on body and focus on what is the base on the body. That means you just focus your body, do meditation. Or not also you do meditation, the things which is depend on the body. Right? Inward has a twofold. Focusing on the body and focusing on what is best on the body. Now you can see more clearly. Of those focusing on the body is threefold. So let's say you want to do meditation, looking inward. Mean focus your body or the thing which is depend on the body. Within the focusing on the body has three folds, three kinds of types. Focusing on the body itself in the aspect of the deity. Focus on ugliness. You just simply you meditate on your body. Second, you can imagine you transform your body as your deity body, like Idam body, right? On the focusing body is a threefold. Focusing on the body itself in the aspect of the deity, focusing on the ugliness such as skeleton, and focusing on the special insana such as Khatambika. So, meditate on your body, there's three kinds. You just observe your body, then slowly you just imagine your body transform into like a deity. Many of you have been doing Yamantaka sadhana. Therefore, after meditate on emptiness, suddenly you transform you as a deity. Second, first you look at your body, then slowly you look more precisely, then you can see your body is completely a skeleton, ugliness. Meditate on ugliness of your body, which look like skeleton. Then third one, just imagine your body is a Sanskrit words, Khatra Viga. Khatra Viga means Khatamka, like a Trishul, like there's a one object which has three types, Trishul. These are inward. Focusing on what is best on the body is five folds. First, focus body. The body has three, you can do meditation on three kinds. Imagine your body as a deity body. imagine your body is a very ugliness like skeleton, and you imagine your body suddenly transforms as a kind of object, as a like a Trivagdam. The second, focusing on what is best on the body is fivefold. Focusing on the breath, the breath is depend on the body. Therefore, it's a best on the body. You focus on your breath. Focus subtle divine sign. Focus on the drop. Focusing on the aspect of the light rest, and the focusing on the light and delight and bliss. These are 7 kinds of meditation. Then name, focus on inward, because everything related to your own body. Next one, serenity based on the object of meditation viewed outwardly is a twofold, special and common. Special and common. Of those, the special has a twofold, focusing on the deity body, and focusing on the deity speech. That means you just focus on the Buddha, focus on the teaching or the voice of the Buddha. It's called outward. Outwardly, is a 2 kinds of. The deity's body and the deity's speech. Now we study a little bit how we can meditate on the Tathagata body, the deity. In this regard, to keep your attention on the physical form of the Buddha is to recall the Buddha. So it gives rise to limitless merit. When your image of that body is clear fame, then there is a special intensification of your meditative focus on the field in the relation to which you must merit through the prostration, offering aspirational prayers. So if you want to do meditation based on the Buddha bodies, Buddha's body, focus on the Buddha, then if you are able to visualize the Buddha is very clearly, very stable way, then when you do your practice like prostration, making like offering, aspirational prayers, then you can get a lot of benefits. Also, you can accumulate a great amounts of merit. Therefore, when we do the Guru Puja, Thara Puja, so we always visualize the field of the merit. So when we visualize field of the merit, how we visualize, we just imagine all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of us in the space. Then if you have a very, vivid visualization, then during your practice, whatever you do practice, the practice becomes very powerful. You do, practice for purifying negative karma, you can purify negative karma more powerfully. So this is the benefit, which you are purifying obturation through the confession, restraint, etc. This kind of meditation serves many purposes. As stated earlier in the extract from the King of the Concentration Sutra, it has advantages such as you're not losing your mindfulness of the Buddha as you die, right? So if you're able to do, the meditation on the Buddha, then you always remember the Buddha very clearly all the time. Then you have a habits. You are very familiar with the Buddha. Therefore, the moment of the death, still you can remember the Buddha. Therefore, the moment of the death, we can have only the positive mental attitude. When we have only positive mental attitude, then the positive mind, what do you call, the positive mind become kind of conditioned to awake the positive karma. Then next life, definitely we can be in the higher realms, right? Therefore, it is the moment of the death is a very crucial timing. That moment, if you have a positive minds, then the positive mind become conducive condition to awake the positive karma. That time, if you have a negative thoughts, then the negative thought can be conducive condition to cultivate the negative karma. So this is the benefit. You die. And when you cultivate the mantra path in the heightened deity yoga, etc., the sutra on the concentration which precede the Buddha of the present face-to-face give a very clear and detailed treatment of this benefit as well. As the methods of directing your mind towards the Buddha, therefore you should definitely come to know them from there. Kamalashila status in the last stage of meditation, faring, I do not write to them here. Consequently, it is skill in the means when you seek object of meditation by which you achieve concentration and also fulfill along the way some other special purpose. So this mainly, Lama Tsongkhapa explained based on the Kamalashila teaching how we should do meditation of the Buddha, what kind of benefit we have. Particularly, if you do the higher Tantrayana practice, then we need, very solid the visualization of the deity or the Buddha. Now, most important, because everybody, asks the question, how we should do meditation on the Buddha. How do you use something like the bodily form of the Tathagata as an object of meditation? That is a question. So that means how we should use the Buddha body as a meditation object. In the regard, present practitioner should first fix their attention on whatever they may have seen and whatever they may have heard about the bodily form of the Tathagata. That means first you need to know what Buddha is look like. Or you hearing about the Buddha, or you have seen a Buddha statue. So you need to have one kind of image. Then your attention just fix, means just watch, just observe a Buddha based on hearing or based on what you have seen. And then achieve serenity. The bodily form of the Tathagata is a golden color like the refined gold, adorned with the sign and the exemplary features, dwells with the routine and the effect ends of the living beings through the various means. So when you visualize the Buddha, you need to think, most importantly, three features. What the body is to look like, what kind of mind he has. He has a very compassionate mind. His body is look like golden body, but that means he's talking about the feature of the Buddha and also talking about the mental quality. And also aims of living beings through the various means. By continuously directing their minds towards it, yogi develop a wish for his good quality and quell laxity and excitement and so forth. So when you visualize the Buddha, make sure your concentration is free from laxity and excitement. That means you have to see the Buddha body very clearly without having any distraction. He's talking about two kinds of obstacles. They should continue meditative civilization for long as they can see it clearly, as though the Buddha was sitting in front of them. So this is how we should visualize. Then there's another question, the next page. Page number 44. Of the two ways to do this, newly imagining the Buddha's form and visualizing the Buddha's form as though actual present. The latter has the distinct advantage in developing faith and fit within the context of practicing comment to the both Suttara and Tantra vehicles. So when you do meditation on Buddha, you have two options. There's two different ways. One, you just imagine, suddenly you visualize. It's newly imagined, newly visualized. The second, you're not just visualizing, you're just believing, you're just thinking, actual Buddha is here. The Buddha Shakyamuni is here as he is alive Buddha. That means two. You have two options, whichever you do. Newly imagine the Buddha, newly visualize the Buddha, or imagine the actual Buddha is here. You got the second has a more benefits because the second one also linked with the Sutrayana practice, also the Tantrayana practice. Both Suttara and Tantra vehicles. Therefore, use a visualized image of the Buddha's form as though it already actually exists. When you seek your object of meditation, the basis upon which you first keep your attention, look for an excellent painting or sculpture of the teacher's body and viewing again and again. Now it's teaching us how we should visualize, how we should do meditation on the Buddha body. That means as a new person, as a beginner, you need to look at painting, you need to look at the scripture of the Buddha, look very carefully a few times, and without looking, try to remember the Buddha. Try to remember how the Buddha is look like, based on the painting or based on the scripture, whatever. Remember itself, the features, firmly, and familiarize yourself with the mental appearance of the object. Mental appearance. Now, let's say everybody commonly, first, you look at a Buddha in front of you, you look a few times, the head and the two shoulders and the two arms and the two legs, right? You look very carefully a few times. Then, without looking at the painting or the Buddha, please remember the Buddha in your mind. The appearance of the Buddha in your mind, you just have to remember, right? So when you remember the image of the Buddha in your mind, then you just absorb. You just absorb, you just look at it. Don't do any other kind of analysis. Firmly and familiarize yourself with the mental appearance of the object, or seek your object of meditation by reflecting upon the meaning of the equivalent description of the Buddha's form, which is you have heard from your gurus, and then make the image appearance in your mind. Furthermore, do not let the object of meditation have the aspect of the painting, the sculpture, rather than to have the appearance in your mind with the aspect of the actual Buddha. Second, you just watch image of the Buddha, or second, you just listen the teaching or listen from your teacher, how the Buddhas look like. Then you just have a mental image of the Buddha in your mind. Then when you do meditation, you should not think you are looking at the painting. You should not think you are looking at the Buddha statue. You just look the Buddha in your mind. It doesn't mean Buddha in your mind. You have the image of the Buddha in your mind. Right? Therefore, you must remember the synonymous of the object of meditation. Because image, sign of the concentration, object in dominant of the concentration, the technique of concentration, draw to concentration, base of the attention, body of internal conceptualizations. Therefore, many people, when they do meditation, they look like they are looking at the painting. They look like watching the scripture. It is totally mistake. You just look the image of the Buddha in your mind. Then, when we do meditation on the based on the Buddha, then there's another, like gross and subtle. Furthermore, there are both subtle and gross features of the Buddha's bodily form. It is stated elsewhere that the first you focus on the gross feature. First, you focus on the gross feature, not precisely, not detail, it's just gross. Mean head, 2 shoulders, 2 arms, and 2 legs. You focus on the gross form of the Buddha body. Gross. And later, when they are solid, so when your mind is become very stable about the head and shoulder and like hands and legs, is concentration become very stable, then you do more precisely. When they are solid, you must focus on the subtle, mean more precisely. Therefore, everybody has a problem. When we do meditation based on the Buddha, so we think, I cannot visualize Buddha. Because we hope, we have an expectation to see the Buddha, completely with a very vivid and clearly. So when we cannot see the Buddha vividly, complete feature, then we think, I cannot do meditation on the Buddha. So therefore, at the beginning, you just focus on the gross form of the Buddha until you have a very stable mind. When the mind becomes very stable on the the gross feature of the Buddha, then you go more precisely. Why? And this you have to do. There's an answer here. As experience also show that it is very easy to arise an appearance of the gross feature. You must develop your object of meditation in the stage starting with the gross features. based on our experience, also for us, it could be easy to focus on the grossness of the Buddha body, right, at the beginning. Then, especially important is that until you have accomplished satisfactory concentration as explained below, it is never appropriate for you to cultivate meditative concentration by shifting your focus on many different types of object of meditation. Important point is that until you have accomplished satisfactory concentration explained below, therefore, everybody, next, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, we just meditate on the grossness of the Buddha body until we have the stable, solid mind to concentrate on the Buddha. And between, you should not change, your object of meditation. You just, if you want to use Buddha, you just use the Buddha body. If you want to use sound, smell, like 5 aggregates, you just use the 5 aggregates. If you want to use the ugliness, you use only ugliness. You should not change the object quite often. Because here, it is never appropriate for you to cultivate meditative concentration by shifting your focus on many different types of object meditation. For if you cultivate concentration by moving to many dissimilar objects of meditation, it will be a great impediment to achieving serenity. Right? Therefore, we chose one object, whichever very suitable for you among the 12 objects. If you feel it's so difficult to use among the 12, one of the object of your meditation, then you can choose the Buddha Shakyamuni, Amida Buddha, Manjushri, whichever you want. You just choose one Buddha. So when, let's say everybody commonly choose Buddha Shakyamuni, then we just focus the head, shoulder, hands and legs. When you're able to see, the gross feature of the Buddha, you just be satisfied and focus this image for a few weeks continuously, today, tomorrow, every day you just meditate on the grossness of the Buddha body until you have a very stable mind. Your mind becomes very stable. Then when your mind becomes quite stable, focusing on the grossness of the Buddha, then slowly you can think more precisely the eyes, 2 eyes, nose, and mouth, like neck, more precisely. Then do continuous meditation for another few months. Then slowly you think, oh, now I can see the complete Buddha body, include eyes and nose and tongue, everything, but I cannot see very clearly. Next, you must put effort to see clearly. At the beginning, we cannot see very clearly. At least be able to see is enough. Achieving serenity. The next, there's a quotation from Asanga. Solidify your mind's reflections. One sentence, there's one meaning. Solidify your mind's reflection By being firm on one object meditation, leading it follow to many objects lead to mind disturbed by afflictions. Right? Therefore, as a beginner of meditation, as a beginner of how learning of meditation, you need to choose only one object. If you often change the object meditation, you will get a lot of distraction. Your mind becomes very disturbed. Now you move all the way, the last paragraph. Accordingly, the measure for having first found the object of meditation upon which you kept your attention is as follows. Visualize several times in sequence the head, two arms, the rest of the trunk of the body, and the two legs. Right? Therefore, visualize several times. That means you think few times about the Buddha head, shoulder, hands, and legs. Think few times. Visualize few times. After that, when you bring your attention to the body as a whole, you can rest before your mind just half of the gross component. Then even without reading clearly, you should be satisfied with just this and fix your attention upon it. Right? So you visualize few times the Buddha, visualize few times the head and shoulder, hands and legs few times. Then your attention just fix there. When you're able to fix your attention, follow the grossness of the Buddha image, then you just satisfy. Even though you cannot see very clearly, still it's okay. You just set your mind is there. Even without reading clearly, you should be satisfied with just this and fix your attention upon it. Right? Then why? Why I have to satisfy? Even though I cannot see, the complete Buddha feature, I cannot have the vivid visualization. Why I have to be satisfied? Why? The answer is here by Lama Tsongkhapa. If dissatisfied with just that, you feel to fix your attention on and one more clarity instead. So you are not happy to do, this kind of meditation because you cannot see the complete feature of the Buddha body. Also, you don't have the vivid or clear, the clear visualization. You are not happy. Then you try to have a more, clarity. Then there's a problem. You will become bit clear, but you will not obtain as a stable concentration. So we have a problem because we cannot see the Buddha very clearly. So if we want to see more clearly, we put a lot of effort. Then maybe we can see more clearly, but we are losing the opportunity to have the concentration. You can see very clearly, but you cannot concentrate. Right? Therefore, even though if you are able to see, able to visualize the grossness of the Buddha body, we just focus the Buddha body, the grossness. Don't worry, even though you cannot see very vividly. If you do worry, try to have a more clarity, then you can see clearly, but you cannot obtain the stable concentration. In fact, you will prevent yourself from getting this. Actually, you will prevent yourself from getting the stable concentration. Even though the object of meditation is not very clear, if you kept your attention on the precisely this partial object of meditation, you will quickly obtain the concentration. Since this then in satisfied clarity, you will readily achieve clarity. This comes from the instruction of the Ishide, one of the Indian master. Right? That means, please, everybody must remember, at the beginning, even though we cannot see the Buddha feature very clearly, still you kept your attention there. First, you're able to concentrate the Buddha for 2 minutes. Then again, you visualize the Buddha a few times, and your attention kept the Buddha's body for 3 minutes. Then slowly 10 minutes, slowly 1 hour. When you continuously able to concentrate the grossness of the Buddha for 1 hour, then you try to visualize more precisely, more complete way. Right? At the beginning, if you are very worried, you are not happy, not seeing the Buddha very clearly, and you put effort to see more clearly, yes, you can see more clearly, but you lose the opportunity to have the stable concentration. Therefore, as a beginner, at the beginning, what we need to learn how to concentrate, how to fix our attention on the object. Therefore, at the beginning, you can see only on the Buddha head. All is okay. You just see the Buddha head. You fix your attention on the Buddha head. Then slowly shoulder. Then slowly hands and legs. Then you see the grossness of the Buddha. Just be happy. Focus, concentrate the Buddha until you have the stable mindfulness, stable concentration. Otherwise, you never achieve serenity. So this is instruction of this comes from the instruction of Ishide. Ishide, one of the very famous Indian master. Okay, now we just move into page number 47. Focusing your mind. It is how to focus your mind on the object of meditation, the flawless methods, eliminating the flawed methods, the length of the session. I think before that, at the end of the page number 46, I think there's a few sentences very important. Keep your attention on the entirety of the body of the extent that is appeared. If some part of the Buddha, some part of the body appeared especially clearly, kept your attention on them. Right? So let's say we are meditating on the Buddha. At the beginning, we can see, a complete Buddha body. Then slowly you can see the head is more clearly. The nose is more clearly. It's okay. You just let it see. You focus on the air, on the nose. Then, when they became unclear, return your attention to the entirety of the body. Then after you focus, when one particular part of the Buddha body, you can see very clearly, slowly, then you cannot see more clearly. Then again, you meditate on the entities, the general body, entities of the body. Then again is go another part of the Buddha body, see more clearly, still you just observe because it's part of your meditation object. Then there's another problem here. At that time, there may be uncertainty to colors. So when we do meditation of the Buddha body, the color change very often. The shape can be changed. The number can be changed. The size can be changed. Right? Can be changed. When you want to meditate on the large body, but a tiny body appear, as it is utterly inappropriate to pursue such as destruction, you must use only the original object of meditation, whatever it may be as your object of meditation. But therefore, at the beginning, you visualize, the golden color Buddha. Then suddenly, appear the blue color that you should not follow. At the beginning, you visualize, like 1 feet of Buddha body, 1 feet, the size of 1 feet, it become bigger, and then you should not follow. Again, you try to, visualize the same size, the shape, the color, also the number. At the beginning, you meditate on 1 Buddha. Slowly, the 1 Buddha become 2, 2 become 4, 4 become 1. If you have this kind of distraction, you should not. So, whatever you choose at the beginning, the original, the size, the color, the shape, always must be same. At the beginning, golden color, always golden color. Appear green color, you must stop. The shape, also according to your, understanding. The number, everything must you kept as a begin, as a you chose. Then page number 47. How to focus your mind on the object of meditation. This has 3 parts. What are the 3 parts? Please read. Presenting the flowless methods, eliminating the flow methods, indicating the length of the sessions. The first, number A, the flowless methods. So this is very important. The concentration that you will accomplish here has 2 special features of concentration. The concentration that you will accomplish here has 2 special features. So what are the 2 special features? The vivid intensity, number 1. Number 2, non-discursive stability. So that means the concentration which is we're going to achieve, it must have these 2 features. The vivid intensity and non-discursive stability. Staying on pointedly on the object of meditation. Then some other master adds the bliss to this, making 3 features. And other master, top of them, also adding the limpidity as well as making the 4 features. That means some masters said the concentration which is we going to achieve, it has 4 features. The vivid intensity, non-discursiveness, stability, limpidity, and bliss. 4. Some masters say no for only 3. Then some masters say no 3, only 2. So we follow the first view, the vivid intensity and non-discursive stability. So when we do concentration or meditation, so make sure we are able to see the object vividly. Not just see, make sure we don't have any make sure there's no discursive thoughts. That means can see the mind is always there. See the object of meditation, the mind is always there. Therefore, the concentration has 3 features. Then the third and fourth who edit is not correct way to say. There's a reason here. However, the limpidity is included in the first features. So when we say the vivid intensity means the limpidity is there. No need to count separately. It does not have to be listed as a separate atom. The delight and bliss, that somebody add the bliss to the making 3 feature. That means the delight and the bliss which impart is a sense of well-being do occur the result of the concentration. That means the delight and blissness is not the feature of the concentration. Those are the result of the concentration that you will accomplish here. But they are not concomitant with all of the concentration which are included in the access to the first meditative civilization. Also the concentration of the fourth meditative civilization. This I think makes you quite confused. I'm not going to explain this one. That means, so when we do meditation, the concentration must have 2 features. What are the 2 features? The vivid intensity and non-discursive stability. We need these 2. Now please turn over page number 48. 48. So when we do meditation, the concentration, it must have 3 features. The vivid intensity and non-discursive stability. So page number 48, the second paragraph. Since the development of the sort of vivid intensity is blocked as long as there is a laxity. So how we can have the vivid intensity when we do concentration, meditation? I think Koinji or whoever, there's some problem at the Chamba Wangmo.
Yeah, usually she's on mute. So
At can you in the center? Yeah. So now it's okay because the image is just moving. Since the development of this sort of vivid intensity is blocked as long as there's a laxity, right? Laxity. Make sure, please remember, Since the development of this sort of vivid intensity is blocked as long as there's a laxity. Laxity and the excitement are laxity. While one-pointed non-discursiveness is blocked as long as there's excitement. So this is very, very important if we do proper meditation in order to achieve serenity, in order to accomplish the proper concentration meditation. We need to know when we do meditation, we need the vivid intensity. At the beginning, we don't have, it's okay. At the beginning, you can see, more like a grossly, not so clearly, still okay. You need to learn how to fix your attention on the object. Clear? Object. Then slowly, when you have your mind becomes very stable on the chosen object, then you need to learn how to have the vivid intensity. In order to have the vivid intensity, we need to control. We need to, we need to stop to have a laxity. Tibetan called Jingwa. Laxity, Jingwa. Excitement, Gopa. So during our meditation, while when we are doing meditation, if you cannot see the object very clearly, then we have the laxity is there. Laxity is there. Yes, you can see the object of meditation very clearly, but your mind cannot stay there for a while. Stay 1 minute, the mind has gone. Mean you have the excitement, gopa. Jingwa mean laxity. Excitement, gopa, jinggo. Therefore, since the development of the sort of vivid intensity is blocked as long as there's a laxity. So we need to eliminate laxity. While one-pointed non-discursive is blocked as long as there's excitement. Laxity and excitements are chief obstacles to achieving the genuine concentration of meditation. So, if you do not understand how to identify accurately the subtle and gross form of laxity and excitement, so if you do not understand how to identify, accurately, make sure it's precisely, accurately, the subtle and gross form of laxity and excitement, or if you do not know how to correctly sustain a concentration which stop those once you have identified them, then it will be impossible for you to develop serenity, not mention insight. Right? Therefore, if you do not know how to correctly sustain the concentration without having laxity and excitement, which is stop those ones you have identified, then you will be impossible for you to develop serenity, not mention insight. Therefore, in order to achieve serenity, So we need to go through the concentration for a long time. While we're doing concentration or meditation, make sure you have the vivid intensity. Make sure you have the non-discursive, stable like a concentration. It too comes when you stop, when you control your laxity and excitement. Therefore, we need to identify what does mean laxity, what does mean excitement. Not just identify, within the identify that you need to stop. Then you sustain the very accurate or correct concentration. Otherwise, you cannot achieve serenity. Therefore, here you must make sure you know the differences between serenity and concentration. The concentration meditation had to go through 9 steps. 9 steps. When you reach to the 9th, the last steps, then you're going to achieve the true blissness. Then at the ending of the 9th stage, then you will achieve serenity. So during the 9 steps, make sure during all steps, your concentration is free from laxity or discursive excitement. How we know my meditation, my concentration is free from laxity? You will know if you're able to see the object of meditation very clearly. Not seeing by eye, seeing by your sixth mind. That means your concentration is free from laxity. Yes, you can see the object of meditation very clearly, but your mind cannot stay. Your attention cannot fix. Your attention cannot fix the chosen object for more than 1 or 2 minutes, means you have a excitement. Also, you need to control your excitement. That means your mind must be there. Your mind always on the object of meditation. That means you don't have an excitement because the mind is not disturbed by any other thought. Mind is there. Not only there, the mind can perceive. The mind can appear. The object is very clearly. That means your concentration is free from the true obstacles. Otherwise, you cannot achieve serenity. Of course, no insight. Hence, those who diligently seek concentration should master this technique. If you wish to achieve, you are very delightful to seeking concentration, then you have to be master. You have to know what does mean excitement, what does mean laxity, how you must know your concentration is free from laxity, not free from the excitement. Yes, you must know now my concentration is free from excitement, no laxity. You must know, oh, now my concentration is totally free from the true obstacle, which is excitement, laxity. Then you will achieve the serenity. Therefore, here, those who diligently seek concentration should master this technique. Laxity and excitement are conditions unfavorable for the achieving serenity. So later I will discuss how to identify this unfavorable condition and how to actually stop them. So later during the serenity section, Lama Tsongkhapa will explain how to identify this two, how to stop this two. Now I shall explain how to develop concentration in a manner conducive to achieving serenity. Right? It's a concentration. So here I think we must learn few things. Yes, dangerous to have a mistake. So Lama Tsongkhapa say, I will explain you how to identify excitement and laxity. Also, I will teach you how to stop them. Here, most importantly, he will explain how to develop concentration, right? Concentration in a manner conducive to achieving serenity. Here, what does mean concentration? Concentrate, right? Therefore, here, concentration refers to your attention remaining one pointedly on the object of meditation. That means concentration mean concentration refer to your attention remaining where remaining on one pointedly on the object of meditation. Here you must remember three things. First concentration is a concentration attention. Attention must remain on the one object. It must remain on the one object. In addition, it must stay with the object continuously. Right? Your attention must remain on the object of the meditation, whichever you choose. Not just remain on the object of meditation, must remain continuously. That means, for example, let's say your eyes is let's attention, eyes conscious attention. Your eyes looking at a flower. Only look at flower, not tree, not fruit, not leaf, just the flower, chosen object. Not just watching the flower, watch the flower continuously. Same, let's say we chose the Buddha as an object of meditation. Your attention just fix, look at the chosen object of the Buddha, not just watch continuously, not any other object. Remaining one pointedly on the object of meditation. In addition, you must stay with the object continuously. Here, two things are needed. In order to fix your attention to the object of meditation continuously, we need two important things. Clear? When your concentration concentrate on the chosen object continuously, we need two important things. What are the two important things? Please look at the books. Lamrim, what are the two important things? Two things are needed for this. Number one, a technique in which your attention is not disturbed from whatever it has as original object of meditation. Make sure your concentration is not disturbed from the chosen object. One technique. Second technique, when you disturbed, also you must know is distracted by someone. Therefore, second, number two, an accurate awareness of the, whether you are, two things here important, whether you are distracted, and whether you are becoming distracted. The former is mindfulness. Later is the vigilance. So in order to continuously concentrate on your chosen object, on the object of meditation, we need two things. What are the two things? Mindfulness and vigilance. Mindfulness and vigilance. If you have a good mindfulness, then is have your concentration continuously fixed on the chosen object. If you have a good vigilance, that means now my concentration going to distract by something, someone you will know. Also, already distracted by something, someone. Right? For example, when you look at, say, oh, it's going to have a raining. Oh, it already ran. Oh, it's going to distract my concentration. Already distract my concentration. It will be known by vigilance. The mindfulness help you to continuously fix your attention on the object. Therefore, here you need to concentration, mindfulness, vigilance. Therefore, many people think mindfulness and concentration are same, is totally different. Right? The concentration is look like your minds, your attention need to attend a particular object. So continuously, fix your attention on the object. You need mindfulness. Mean, yes, this moment, my attention is fixed on the, like Buddha. That means it reminds you, now my concentration is concentrated on this object. Concentrate. Is known by the mindfulness. When the concentration distracted or being distracted, known by vigilance. I told you usually the vigilance is look like very sensitive sensor. Very sensitive sensor. This day we have very sensitive sensor, right? When something happened, the sensor warn us. Therefore, please remember the differences between concentration, mindfulness, and vigilance. Once more, now I shall explain how to develop concentration in a manner conducive to achieving serenity. Here, concentration refers to attention remaining one-pointedly on an object of meditation. In addition, it must stay with the object continuously. Two things are needed for this. A technique in which your attention is not distracted from whatever it is had as its original object of meditation. And number two, an accurate awareness of whether you are distracted and whether you are becoming distracted. The former is mindfulness, the latter is vigilance. But please remember, object of meditation. Your attention fixed on the object of meditation. When you fix, your mindfulness always know my attention is fixed on this object. If you have a good mindfulness, then your attention is always there. If you don't have a good mindfulness, your attention cannot stay on the object of meditation for not more than 1 minute. Right? Once your attention distracted by, forgetfulness or other condition, then the vigilance must know is distracted or going to distract it. Then there's a next quotation from the sutra. Mindfulness and vigilance. Please take it. Mindfulness, please read the sentence, the program. Right? Okay. So we look at mindfulness and vigilance. These two bring about close mental focus. These two bring your mind focus, because the former means the mindfulness. Mindfulness prevents your attention from wandering from other object. Prevent your attention from wandering from other object of the meditation. And the latter clearly recognize that your attention is wandering. Right? Therefore, if you have mindfulness is very important, continuously your attention fixed on the chosen object, not other object. Vigilance lets you know very clearly your concentration distracted. We should not say mindfulness distracted. Right? Your concentration, your meditation distracted because you forget the object of meditation because of the forgetfulness. Next, continuously, if a lapse in the mindfulness, right? If your mindfulness has gone, a lapse in a mindfulness lead to forgetting the object of meditation. Your mindfulness has gone, that means your attention going to forget the object of meditation. You will be distracted and will immediately lose the object upon which you are meditating. Here that means meditating, concentrating, meditation, concentration are synonymous. Mindfulness and concentration is totally different. Therefore, the foundation of the cultivating concentration is mindfulness, which does not forget the object. Let's say we commonly meditate on 5 aggregates. We concentrate on the 5 aggregates, means our attention, our mind fully absorb the 5 aggregates. Right? We meditate on 5 aggregates. We know, our mindfulness must know my mind, my concentration, my attention is fixed on the 5 aggregates. The mindfulness always remember, now is, my mind, my concentration is concentrated on the 5 aggregates. When the mindfulness lapse, means mindfulness collapse or is not there, then the concentration cannot remember, cannot fix of the object meditation because we forgot the object meditation. Therefore, the foundation of the cultivating concentration is mindfulness, which does not forget the object. How does such as mindfulness Focus your mind right on the object of meditation. Then how does, right? How does such as mindfulness focus your mind? Now, mindfulness, your mind, focus. Right? That means the meditation, concentration, attention, this kind of mind is just focus, the attention focus on the object, the how to the mindfulness. How does such as mindfulness focus your mind right on the object of meditation? Once you have at least visualized the object of meditation, okay, once you have at least visualized the object of meditation in the minimal manner as explained above, and generate powerful apprehension of the object that tightly hold it with your attention. After you have set your attention at the high level, stabilize it on the object without newly analyzing anything. That means how the mindfulness focus your mind right on the meditation. How I mean at the beginning we need to visualize. Visualize doesn't mean just imagine. Okay, visualize mean can be imagined, not necessarily imagine. Means let's say impermanent. First, we need to remember impermanent through reasoning and logic. When we understood impermanent, minimal, not that vividly, minimal manner explained above, and generate powerful apprehend and an object of tightly hold. Once you remember impermanence, then you need very strong apprehend mind to apprehend the impermanence, the object, with your attention. After you have set your attention at the high level, then stabilize it on the object without newly analyzing anything. This means how mindfulness able to help our mind focus on the object of meditation. Therefore, concentration, mindfulness, vigilance, how our mind, how our attention focus on the object of meditation through mindfulness. With regard to mindfulness, Asanga accompaniment and knowledge said, there's a quotation. This sentence has 3 parts. What is mindfulness? What is mindfulness? In regard to familiar object, one meaning. Second, your mind is not forgetful. Third part, operates without distraction. Mindfulness means the mind is very familiar with the object, not forget the object, and operates without distraction. This means the meaning of mindfulness. What is mindfulness? In regard to familiar object, your mind is not forgetful and operates without distraction. This indicates that mindfulness has 3 features. Mindfulness has very important 3 features. What are the 3 features? Number 1, please read. Number 2, please read. Number 3, Okay, this means the mindfulness has a three important feature. Feature number one is that regard to the familiar object. Is absorbed object is, absorbed object is a familiar object. Familiar. If you see first time, you don't have a good mindfulness. In order to have a mindfulness, the object must be very familiar with the mind. Therefore, familiar object. Since mindfulness does not occur with regard to previously unfamiliar object, the object is very, not familiar with your mind, the mindfulness cannot really occur because the mindfulness cannot remember the object. Therefore, familiar object. Object must be very familiar. Then feature number two is subjective aspect, the mind itself, the mindfulness itself is subjective aspect of manner of apprehension is your mind is not forgetting the object. As indicated by phrase, your mind is not forgetful. That means the mindfulness is very familiar with the object and not going to forget the object. Then feature number three, its function is to keep your attention from the wandering from the object of meditation. Its function is to keep your attention from the wandering from object of meditation. Feature number 3 is that I need to check. Feature number 3, its function is to keep your attention from the wandering from object of meditation. Yeah, function means the mindfulness can mindful the familiar object, not any other object. That means when we do meditation on the 5 aggregates, first our mind have to be very familiar with the 5 aggregates. Then when we do meditation on 5 aggregates, then we not going to forget the 5 aggregates because we very familiar with the 5 aggregates. Right? That's what familiarize. Then not forgetful. When you have a good mindfulness, the mindfulness can remember, can mindful only the chosen object, not other objects. That's the meaning of mindfulness. Now we go through the analogy. We talk about concentration, we talk about mindfulness, and we talk about vigilance. Then we talk about object of meditation. Object of meditation, concentration, mindfulness, vigilance. 4. Fixing your attention on an object of meditation is this way, and controlling it is said to be like a taming an elephant. Right? So, fixing your attention on the object of meditation, your attention, your mind is look like, untaming elephant. Taming, like said to be like taming an elephant. An elephant tamer tie a wild elephant to a tree or sturdy post with a many thick rope. Now here, your mind, your attention look like elephant. So the tenor of elephant need to train the elephant. Therefore, we need to train our mind, our concentration. How the trainer of elephant train the elephant? The trainer of elephant ties elephant with a very strong pillar. With the many thick ropes. Now you remember elephant mean our mind, our attention are look like elephant. The pillar is analogy of object of meditation. The elephant ties with the pillar with the thick ropes. The thick rope is analogy of the mindfulness. If it does as the trainer teaches, then fine. But if it does as the trainer teaches, then fine. Then the trainer is the practitioner. We are trainer. So we need to train our mind, our attention. So our minds follow what we say is fine. If our mind, our attention not follow what we say, then what we need to do? If not, then fine. If not, it is subdued and control. Subdued the mind, control the mind, subdue the elephant, control the elephant using what? Strung repeatedly with the sharp iron hook. Sharp iron hook. So here remember the sharp iron hook. Therefore, when you look at this book, at the end of this book, page number 321, you can see the elephant, the black elephant, right? You can see the elephant is symbolize our mind, our attention. You can see the monkey, excitement. Elephant color is white and black is black. Black is symbolize of laxity. Elephant is symbolize our mind. The black color laxity. Monkey, excitement. The monk is the trainer, the practitioner. Right? Then in the monk hand, you can see they hold the iron hook in the hand. The iron hook is symbolized of the vigilance. Elephant, monkey, elephant is the black, laxity, monkey is excitement. The monk is the practitioner or trainer who train the mind. The monks hold the iron hooks. Is symbolized of the vigilance. Through vigilance, mindfulness need to train the mind. Then slowly you can see the monkey, the elephant become bit white when your mind is free from laxity. Also, you are controlling excitement. Slowly you can see what. Then slowly you can see here one rabbit. Here no rabbits. Here you can see little black rabbits. Now you can see it's a very little white rabbits. Right? That means gross laxity, then subtle laxity. So you go through the books or you look at the painting. So iron hooks. iron rope hook. Your mind is like the untamed elephant. You bend in with the rope of mindfulness. The elephant and pillar tied with the rope. That means our mind must fix on the object of meditation by mindfulness. If the rope cut, then the elephant run from the pillar. The elephant cannot be with the pillar because the rope is cut. When your mindfulness, has gone, then the mind cannot fix on the object of meditation. Therefore, with the ropes of the mindfulness to the steady pillar of an object of meditation, such as explained above. If you cannot keep it there, you must gradually. If your mind cannot fix on the object of meditation, your attention cannot fix on the object of meditation, then gradually, slowly, gently, gradually bring it under control by boarding it with the iron hook of vigilance. You gradually, gently, then you bring your mind back to the object of meditation with the mindfulness. Therefore, page number 50, the yearning elephant of your mind is securely bound by a rope of the mindfulness to the steady pillar of the object of meditation, and it gradually controlled with the iron hook of the intelligence. Again, vigilance, intelligence, they are same here. Also Kamala Shila. So please everybody read, few times. I know, we cannot remember all the words. You must remember all the important points. When I do meditation, how should I sit? Which object I must use? How I use my mindfulness to continuously observe, continuously concentrate on the object of meditation. Then how I can stop the two, obstacles, laxity and excite. How can I stop? So far when you have a laxity, you cannot see the object very vividly. So far you have the excitement, your mind cannot be fixed on the object of meditation for long time. Therefore, in order to have a proper meditation, please remember concentration, mindfulness, vigilance, excitement, laxity, how to stop, how to aware when the laxity arises, how to aware when the excitement arises. Okay, so today, we can stop here. If there is any question, so we have 5 minutes.
Currently, I have no questions. I think the black elephant is trying to warm up. So,
okay, that means I think next 5, 6, 7, right? Or 6, 7, 8. There will be 3-day teaching by His Holiness Dalai Lama. So I will do the revision class. Also on the 7th is the Labab teaching. So we already started the Lord offering for more than almost 1.5 months. Labab teachings. Those are Lama Tsongkhapa Bades. And also we're going to have a lot of flower. So we're going to offer flower and lights. So please everybody rejoice. Also during the Labab teaching, a very important day for the Buddhist who can please engage into dharma activities. You read Lamrim, you read, engage into Buddhist as a way of life, you do your practice, attend the Lamrim, attend the teaching from Vishnudhara Lama. So thank you so much and have a happy Saturday, right? Saturday.
Yeah.
We have a discussion class. Then we will see on the 5th, 6th, 7th, and also on the Sunday class. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. So just to add on, tomorrow there no Sunday class tomorrow. Please take note. And next week there won't be any Lamrim class either. So please do take notes.
But no holiday, okay? You all do your homework. Please do read Lamrim as much as you can. I told you many times, when you read Lamrim, you don't have to remember all the words. For example, first, the main topic. The second, the meaning. Third, all the quotation, proving this is the, very unmistaken, like a statement. So you must remember the main topic. Then you must remember how to practice. And among the quotation, you must remember, which is most, easy to understand. You memorize the one of, the quotation, each of the points. Then we have been talking about meditation. Please make sure everybody third rule, familiar with the meditation. So otherwise, when we finish class about the meditation, we just finish the class. We won't have anything on our mind. It's no good. So thank you so much. So please do the dedication prayers or dedicate the merit. So through our Lamrim practice, through our study of Lamrim, definitely we have accumulated great amount of merit. All the merits which is we have accumulated today. So first we dedicate for becoming Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Also, all the lineage gurus include Vishnudhara Lama, be healthy, have a long life and healthy life. Also, this day there's so many conflicts all over the world, particularly in the Middle East. So please, everybody, dedicate the merit to subdue, to control the conflicts in the Middle East. Dedicate the merit to benefit all your families, your friends and relatives, also the people who continuously support TBC.